Tell me, when did you come to Hollywood? Where were you born?
On a farm in Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay, now when the heck did you come here?
1953.
Why?
I was in love with a gorgeous girl who was signed to a contract at Columbia Pictures. Now, I've always said if she had stuck with me, she'd be a star today.
She never would have had Harry Cohen, and she would have had your expertise behind. Now, you're a PR person, and that's what you guys do. You're star makers. What does a freaking PR? What did you do?
I was
in your day.
I was a journalist first. I was a journalist. I was West Coast editor of Box Office magazine. I had started my career at 14 in Portland when I found out that you could get free tickets to movies and plays by writing about them. So I found some little weekly newspapers and went in and wrote for them for nothing because we couldn't afford the $1.10 picture. When I was at Rogers & Cowan, I was president of the motion picture division. And with Hepburn in it. I took it on spec, knowing full well we would never get paid, but I just thought I want to work with Hepburn once. She was so grumpy all the time.
Really?
But I called up my friend Larry Olivier in London. They had just done Love Among the Ruins. I walked over and I said, "Excuse me, Miss Hepburn, but I have a message from my friend Larry Olivier, purposely saying Larry." And she said, "Oh, well, what does that old goat have to say?" I said, "Well, he says that your bark is worse than your bite, but you're really a sweet old bitch," or something to that. She said, "What?" He said, "What?" But we ought to be friends. He said. She said, "Well, okay, if you're a friend of Olivier's, I guess we should be friends. I need somebody to talk to on this picture. So sit down." Yeah, because I couldn't get a job. I mean, I came out here.
You came out here, though, with this
in
woman. 1953,
I came and followed her.
Woman. And then what did you do after you...
I tried to get a job at the Times. They wanted to hire...
How were you making money?
I got a job at General Electric in the mail room, because the Times only offered me $25.
So you were working for GE, but you were doing like interviews and whatnot on the side?
Yeah, I was doing all of this on the side.
And then how the hell did you get into PR in 1983?
Because I eventually ended up on Variety. I was on Variety for 6.5 years. And that's the days when Variety was Variety,
right.
When it was a great thing, when Weekly Variety was that thick and we covered everything, and I did it all. And Rona Barrett was just starting at the same time. And Rona Barrett was the biggest deal because this was the first person of her type on television, and she was very popular, instantly popular. And so I called up Rona Barrett and said, "I've got an actor who's going to win the Academy Award, and he's sure to win the Academy Award if you'll do an interview." And she said, "Who?" And I said, "Rod Steiger." And she said, "He's fabulous, yes." And we worked out what the interview was going to be. She did it.
Now let's talk about Joan Crawford. Did you know Joan?
I knew Joan very well. Joan Crawford was the ultimate movie star. The ultimate movie star. There was no one like her. Joan Crawford would do anything for her image. If you called her up, she'd send you a note thanking you for calling.
I've heard that about her.
And all that.
She always went out looking like a movie star.
Oh, absolutely.
But did you ever witness her, being a bad mother around her kids, or was that something made up?
No, I was never around her kids until they were grown. However, I was in the green room of the Merv Griffin show with my client Gene Kelly once many years ago, and Merv was very generous. He had a full buffet and a full bar for all of his guests, and Joan liked that a lot.
Right.
Well, so did Gene, as a matter of fact,
Right.
And so did I, as a matter of fact. And so we were sitting there drinking vodka and
before you
having
go on.
a wonderful time. the page came and tapped Joan on the shoulder and said, Miss Crawford, you're up next. And she said, oh, okay. And so she took another slug. And then she got up, and before we could catch her, she fell flat on her face on the floor. Flat on the face, and I thought, oh, Jesus. I mean, did she break her nose? I mean, no, she was a movie star. She got up, shook her head, and went out there as a star. And
she knocked him dead.
Absolutely. Now there's no such thing as respect from the public. There's no such thing as a respect from, well, we're living in
condemnation either.
Or condemnation. We're living in a tabloid world, and that's what the public wants. That's what they want on television. They want blood and guts, but the public chose their favorites. The public asked for a Gregory Peck picture. They asked for a Rock Hudson picture when he became popular. They asked for a Rock Hudson Doris Day picture. They asked for a Greer Garson picture. They asked for a Betty Grable picture. And so many of them were almost exactly alike because they were vehicles for those people. John Wayne didn't change throughout his whole career.
Right.
But he got an Oscar.
Right.
Because he learned after a while.
Let's talk about Steve McQueen, because you worked with Steve McQueen.
Loved Steve McQueen. One of the great movie stars of all time.
He's become, his status has become iconic, really. The Japanese love Steve McQueen.
And it should be iconic. We liked each other. And I would go to the desert to stay with him on a weekend or whatever. And he wanted me to go out bike riding with him.
Motorcycle.
Yeah. And I did that the first time. Well, I mean, he had a death wish. I mean, he would just be crazy. Just like when he raced in cars, I've seen him on one wheel and all that. I swear he had a death wish. And, at the end of that first ride, I said, you can fire me, do whatever you want to do, but I ain't never going out on a bike with you again, ever, because I want to live. And he laughed and said, oh, you're just a wuss.
When he died.
I for a while I was worried about my business because I was Natalie Wood's spokesperson and Steve McQueen's spokesperson and Rock Hudson's spokesperson.
And
they were all dying. And I thought, I'm going to be called like provoking him. I'm going to be Dr. Death. I lived my life my own way, but was able to have a sense of values that allows me today to be a trustee of the Actors Fund, which is now named the Actors Fund for Everyone in Entertainment because it confuses people. We take care.
How long has it been around, the Actors Fund?
128 years. It's the
God.
oldest continuing charity that takes care of everyone in all areas of entertainment who is in need. You can do it for people, but right now it's zombies and vampires. I mean, I don't like zombies and vampires.
Dale Olson, you're neither one. Thank you so very much. I could sit here and talk to you forever about all these great stories.
But, all right.
I don't want to keep you forever. Thanks, Dale.